Welcome to another episode of LifeMastery with Monica Bey, your hub for mastering every area of your life for total fulfillment. And here she is, your host, the healer in heels herself, Monica Bey.
I have in the studio with me today an amazingly talented Angelo Diaz, who is the star of TV One's hit show, ATL Homicide. Angelo has been able to reach great success in a very short period of time. So I'm sure he will share a lot of nuggets of wisdom with us today. And as we dive into his story. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. This is very dope. I feel like I should be introducing you. This is Monica Bey with LifeMastery
The healer in
podcast.
heels. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. For real, this is
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate you coming, and I've been amazed as I've looked into you more and learned more about you, about how far you've come in such a short period of time. And as you know, a lot of people on the actor journey, it's a lot of times it takes so long to get there. So I want to talk about that today and your journey about that. But first, I want to dive deep. Let's get to know who you are. I know you grew up in Miami, so tell me what it was like to grow up in Miami and how that shaped who you are today.
Miami is a interesting place. It's a city of duality. It tells a tale of duality. So it taught me a lot about that, and I carry that vibration with me everywhere I go. But my experience growing up in Miami was pretty unique because it was me and my mom. Shout out to her. She is no longer with us on Earth, but she is a super warrior. Like, she was amazing, very intelligent, genius level kind of stuff going on. But with that come other complexes and mental struggles for certain levels of genius. So there was ups and downs. At her high, she was running the South Florida chapter of United Way and helping open Boys and Girls Clubs and professor of journalism, professor of creative writing. And at a low, it was unstable at her lows. So she was raising me and trying to make sense of the struggle, and we were jumping around a lot. So from Little Haiti to South Beach, which isn't a South Beach, it is now, to Carroll City, to Little Havana, which is where most of my family was based, and repeat. So with that, those are like 4 or 5, 6 totally separate worlds, like literally separate worlds.
Yeah.
They could be a mile and a half from each other. It's like a separate world. So I was exposed to a lot of culture early on, exposed to a lot of different frequencies and vibrations early on. And to make sense of the chaos, for me, it was about a little bit of Darwinism and survival of the fittest, and seeing what I needed to be socially and emotionally. But I don't want to get it twisted. Like, it wasn't like, I need to fake the funk or be something I'm not or act hard. It was just, I need to be true to myself. But
it's my adaptation, right?
Exactly. And I discovered I am so much that I just need to find out what part of me I need to tap into to make these new kids at Carroll City Elementary School at ease, you know what I'm saying, and want more of me, and want me to be an alpha, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's, I think, where acting started for me before I even realized it. I was doing the craft, applying the craft at like 5, 6, 7 years old. And I just carry that vibration with me, like everywhere I go.
Okay, that's awesome. And I like that you talk about energy and vibration, because that's
sure.
what I'm all about, is energy and vibration.
Yes.
And I know that because of your Afro-Cuban history or a background as well, you have a natural way of kind of tapping into that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Afro-Cuban culture is very spiritual. Well, Latino culture is very spiritual, very vibration and frequency heavy. Even superstitious to a certain degree. But Afro-Cuban is very in tune with divinity and spirituality, and nothing is just, that bird just landed. It's like, no, that bird landed when I was talking about this new job, and I was telling you about the new job, and then I saw a bluebird the other day, I should take this job. You know what I mean? Like, everything's like full circle type situation.
That sounds like my life every day. I'm like, butterfly, I know what that means.
Exactly. And it does, because things do represent stuff. And Hispanic culture, especially Afro-Cuban, is heavy on numerology, heavy on symbolism. Even colors represent things. Well, I'm gonna play these numbers today on the lotto because I felt it. You know what I mean? Like, everything is very in tune.
Okay, awesome. So how much of that do you actually employ in your day-to-day life?
Every day,
really?
all the time,
all
the time. Not only that, I'm showing my daughter what certain things represent. You know what I mean? Like, what do you feel is your spirit animal? What do you feel called to, compelled to? Because your body's just a vessel for your soul. Your soul has a vibration that resonates with it. It has a frequency that gets called to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a reason why you prefer a pug versus a Siberian Husky. There's a reason why you prefer a royal blue to bright yellow. Like, you're being called to certain things because your soul carries that preference.
Yeah. Yeah. So I noticed that you're wearing mala beads.
Yes.
So do you use the mala beads as well?
I do. I use them to meditate. I use them for calmness and to just be in tune with the moment.
Okay. Good.
I find myself doing a lot of things to practice being in the moment and understanding the power of now. Because I can be very tenacious, very ambitious, very like 3 to 5 years ahead. And, all right, let's put this piece of the puzzle over here. Boom, 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 and you gotta enjoy the moment. You gotta enjoy it because I got a feeling. My brother Frank was telling me the other day, you're gonna miss this. You're gonna miss just being able to eat a burger with your people in public and just chill.
Yeah.
So
you're on the rise quickly.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's still surreal to hear it. Like you doing the intro, I was like, who's she talking about?
Feels good though, right?
Yeah, it does feel good. It does feel good.
Yeah.
That validation for creatives and artists and especially actors, so much that goes into it before you even receive that. That by the time it comes, you validated yourself so much, and your loved ones and your family have validated you by the trust and the energy they invest into you, that by the time it comes on a national stage, it's like dope. But like we've been through that. We appreciate y'all realizing, but that's not what I do it for. I do it to tell stories and to inspire and motivate others.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Appreciate it.
I love that. So I love the whole, energy thing that you really vibrate at a strong level too. And I think I told you already that I'm psychic and I'm a healer and I can actually see energy, and your aura is very, very bright. So I already knew kind of that you definitely do some work.
Yeah, for sure. Some soul work.
Some soul work, exactly. And that always exudes in your aura and really shines. And that helps you also propel in your career and everything that you do, because you manifest that as well.
Wow.
So, nice.
I received that. I received that.
Yes, yes. So tell me a little bit more about how you became the actor you are today. What was the moment that you decided to become an actor?
It was rock bottom. It was rock bottom. A lot of, diamonds are forged from pressure and pain and strife and struggle. So it was a situation where I was kind of getting to my worst. I was transitioning out of the military. I had some, crisis. How do you pluralize crisis? Some crises pop up. My mother left our plane, and I was having a daughter. I was growing. My grandfather had recently passed away a couple years before that. So it was just a lot going on, and I knew I was unhappy. My frequency was unhappy. I was about probably 100 pounds bigger than I am now.
Oh wow.
I was plugged into the matrix really hard. They caught a young, ambitious brother straight out of college and college sports and football and being from the projects and everything. Not the military reference to that. I was in the reserves for a while, and then I got into retail businesses that were centered around the auto industry. But I wasn't happy. I was unhappy, and my body was letting me know, my soul was letting me know that this wasn't the frequency for me. So it was kind of like back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, I have nothing now. You know what I mean? Money-wise or anything like that, that didn't matter. It was like I was broke soul-wise. So I was like, all right, if I'm saying that this is the bottom, this is the foundation, I can build from here. I can build by my design what I want to do.
Yes.
So I had to go back to the drawing board and ask myself, I got like a Forrest Gump kind of story situation. So I was like, why was I good at this?
Running?
Why would right? Not physically, maybe, but why did this work for me? Why didn't this work for me? What was this about? What was that about? Just all these different phases and chapters, and I landed on acting, or acting landed on me rather. I was like, all right, that's the one skill set I've been using to be successful, is just being authentic, being in tune with myself, and using that craft to inspire and motivate others.
Nice.
Whether that it's manifested itself via sales or customer service, or being a field corpsman, which is Navy talk for combat medic. It manifests itself in all those different ways, but at the end of the day, I was applying the craft. But I was running from acting. I was like, it's like they be broke and they be struggling, and I got a daughter to feed, and I was just used to taking more practical routes because I was came from impoverished settings financially. So I was like, I need to take more practical routes because that's a clear strategy.
Yeah. Sometimes practical can kill you.
It can, and then you're giving that to some other folks. You know what I mean? To somebody else's family. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, if I can be down bad myself for a few years, I know at the end of the day, if I can do 60 or 70 hours a week to run this car lot, if I can do 80 or 90 hours a week to the Marines, if I invest in myself, imagine it'll come back triple fold, and it is.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. So you used a couple words that I really liked. You said, or phrases, plugged into the matrix. I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that. So
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
All day.
But I like that. I like that. So tell me what that was like when you say that you were, really plugged into the matrix, and then that introspection to discover. I guess with the introspection, it was really you figuring out your overall theme of the life skill of adaptation and kind of projecting those different inner parts of yourself out. So tell me what that moment was like, kind of figuring out like, oh, it's acting.
That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets spooky. I had figured it out.
I like spooky. We're good. All
right, cool. It was here, and then it grew. And then I couldn't fight it, and then I was ignoring it blatantly. And then signs were sent to me. God spoke to me. She showed out. She would have. It just started getting to be weird. Like little kids would be like, "Where I know you from? You was on a show or TV or are you in a movie?" And I was like, "Oh, you trying to be funny? Yes. You trying to be funny?" Or loved ones would have a dream. We're like, "Yo, I just had a weird dream. Like you were on a red carpet stunting. Like I don't know." I was like, "All right, awesome. Okay, you got my undivided attention now." Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, that gets your attention.
It
for
does.
Sure.
It does.
Well, I love it when the universe or God, whatever you want to call that guiding force, starts to just hit you over the head with things.
Fact.
And then it's great that you're able to receive that though, and internalize that and say, okay, and follow it with faith.
Yes.
That's important.
That's the hardest part. I think if people get more in tune with themselves and their surroundings, the message is there. I think that's why Latinos are so heavy on numerology and symbolism and everything like we discussed, because they're just trying to be one with the universe and nature and understand, okay, this is not control their situation, but rather just go with the flow and let me listen to what God is saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what helps me with acting a lot, like a lot. I realized through my process that I developed organically, and then it was strengthened by coaches that I train with and classes that I go to. I was like, okay, I was doing this right. It's kind of like being from the hood and then you go to college and take economics. So it's like, I knew supply and demand. We just didn't give it a chart like the Anglo-Saxons did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we know exactly what it is. So it was kind of like actors try to control their situation. They get a script that's art imitates life, so it's imitating life, and life doesn't make sense sometimes. A lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah.
But we'll take a script and try to make it make sense, and like mark it up, and like, oh, this is where the energy flowed here, and this is the break, and this is when I feel this, and by the time you're done, it looks like a musical score sheet, when it's really not that. It's really not that. It's really like, all right, let me see. Oh wow, that's crazy. Okay, all right, let's play. You know what I mean? And just be in the moment, surrender to it. Surrender to it. Instead of trying to control, like you're just, as an actor, you're just preparing to have a human experience. You can't control the human experience.
I like that. You got a lot of quotables.
I'm trying to get the game, and I'm trying to that's a large part of who I am, is to share it with others and to put others on, whether it be physically or literally or metaphorically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And so that leads me to my next question. What do you want to put out there into the world? What do you want to give to the world? What do you want your impact to be?
Tupac changed my life when he said, a few things he said, but when he said, like, I can't necessarily change the world in my lifetime. Like, we've made such a mess out of this, you know what I mean? But I guarantee I can spark the mind that will. I guarantee I can. Whether it's listening to my music in the gym or listening to my music in the locker room or whatever, I guarantee I can spark a mind that changes the world. That's where I'm at with it. I don't know the influence that I'm having or the things I'm involved with is having 10, 15 years from now. Like ATL Homicide on TV1. To see Brown Brothers, brother and a Puerto Rican, like fighting crime, law enforcement, you know what I mean? Outside of the realm of Law and Order or something like that. In mainstream media, like these are actual guys, like real life icons. We don't know what effect that's gonna have on your nephew or, you know what I'm saying, little cousin and stuff like that. Especially with this era and the disconnect we're having with law enforcement, or the disconnect that we've been having with law enforcement coming to a peak, like it's more critical now than ever.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So how's it been playing the detective on the show?
It's been hella dope. It's been hella, he's a great guy, man. He's very interesting, very dynamic. He speaks with his hands. He walks around with a toothpick in his mouth.
Why do you like that he speaks with his hands?
Cause it works.
Like, I like this.
Yeah, it's like I tell him all the time, like, yo, you Cuban. You know what I mean? You just don't know you got some Cuban in you. Everything is very player. Everything is some type of metaphor. You know what I mean? Like he has a very rich language. But outside of all that, outside of his steez, he does it for the right reasons. Like he just wants the truth. Like the truth is like his crack. Like he wants like there's mystery here, there's lies here. I want to get to the truth so this family, this loved ones can have this closure, and this justice system can apply what it needs to apply in this situation. And he's in the streets. Like he's in the streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you had to do to prepare for that character?
Just sit down with him and get to know him and get to know each other and learn him and learn his values and learn his priorities, learn what he finds sacred and spiritual in this whole thing. And he's a very authentic person. That's one of his best assets, was being able to connect with people. Because you got this suit, you know what I mean, with a badge, and he's coming up on you asking you questions, and you're either hurting because you just lost a loved one, or you're panicking because you're like, yo, this is the 5th detective I've talked to. I told you I don't have nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? And he just has a crazy, unique ability to get you to let your guard down.
Okay.
For sure.
And so you were the perfect person to play that role, especially since you already have the background with energy and connecting and being able to know how to connect to people from all walks of life, right?
It was a very divine blessing. Like everything about it, there was divine language throughout it.
We know it was divine because the messages were just coming.
Exactly. And then, check this out, I get to set, and my co-star, which I hadn't met before, neither one of us know each other, we're not related. I get to set, his last name is Diaz. He was from Miami, born and raised, and he's Cuban.
Wow.
Alright, bet. Alright, cool. I'm rolling. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was very awesome. Shout out to my co-star, Chris Diaz, man. He's a stand-up dude. He's my brother for life.
Okay, awesome.
For sure.
So were there any power moves that you made to really kind of get in the door? Because as you know, this is not an easy industry to crack.
For sure. Pretty Fly Society is, in essence, my power move. That's physically how it manifested itself. Which is rather our power move, which I'll explain. So I studied the greats when I was getting into the game. I tried to do that, period. But I was studying the greats in regards to entertainment industry or sports and things of that nature. But what I've noticed, it's formulaic in the sense of, let me bring mine with me. Like, let's rise together. If you're looking at LeBron in clutch sports, like his partner Maverick is just as important to the King James brand as LeBron, if arguably not more important. If you're looking at a Drake and OVO, if you're looking at a Kevin Hart and his people, it's formulated. So I wanted to follow that formula, and I knew in my head, I knew like once I get there, who would be there. And that's Pretty Fly Society. It's a lifestyle group that we started when we were in college. Just off of being
what's the name of it?
Pretty Fly Society.
Pretty Fly, I like it.
Definitely has roots in Kappa and Noop and all that good stuff. I'm not a Kappa, but it was a conglomerate of some fellas that were Kappas and some fellas that was just fly and real and authentic. And so we took that from, your typical, we're big fish on a small pond, let's throw parties, let's monetize it, to like, no, we really have an influence, so let's continue to inspire and motivate. We made a magazine, we made a lifestyle blogs, we were pumping out content, we were having events beyond just party promoting. And this was so many years ago, but I knew that when I made it, that's who would be there. And that would be a critical part of me making it.
Okay.
And that leads me to the other power play, which is, and I spit this to creatives all the time, whether it be on a platform, an awesome platform like yours, or one-on-one when they ask me, what do I need to do, what do I need to make it? And it's like, not that, you know what I mean? And I say that with love, I say that gently, not that. Like, realize that you are the platform, you're the plug, you know what I mean? So tap into that. Like, they don't know what to do with you. You're so divine and complicated and lit, and you got so many different folds and elements of you. They don't understand that. They're trying to fit you into their box or their script or their album campaign or their artistry, their business plan, which is cool. Continue to try to get in where you fit in, but create your own content so you can show them what to do with you. That's all suits are looking to do, is monetize what you've been able to quantify. Literally, it's more of a math algorithm for them than a creative effort.
Okay.
So once you're able to quantify your creativeness, they'll invest in it.
Okay. I think that's a good life lesson for everyone.
That's and that's law of attraction.
Yes,
it's law of attraction.
It
Once
is.
you realize I am abundant, that's when everything will come.
Yes, yes. And that is an awesome affirmation.
Yes.
I am abundant, and therefore everything will just come.
Exactly. You know it, man. You
Yeah.
know it.
You gotta blow it up.
Okay,
You gotta blow it up. Boom.
That's awesome.
So here's a good question. If you had to break down your philosophy in life, you've given us a lot of really good nuggets already.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to pull more out of you.
Okay.
So if you had to break down your philosophy in life into one rule, what would that be?
My mom always used to say, "You give what you get." I'm sorry, you get what you give.
Okay.
And that kind of, once law of attraction came across me and certain things, it made more sense. It's like you're gonna, if you put out abundance, you're gonna receive abundance. If you put out stress or you induce pain or strife in others, whether incidentally or purposefully, you're gonna receive that back. If you're invested into something, but your motive and your intent is not pure or of a high vibration, it's gonna
Yeah.
bleed through your efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very true. I'm all about law of attraction and
Yeah.
manifestation, and I would agree with that. That is a very accurate rule of life.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So how do you employ that into your life on a day-to-day basis?
I try to leave a positive impact. So one of my first things that were like got some type of attention on a viral level, I did a Lyft campaign where, and this was the first one, but they have celebrities dress up or wear disguises, and they're like, people get in the car and then they discover, oh, this is David Beckham or such and such. So we did one with Shaq. We didn't know Shaq was going to be there. Some of us knew it was going to be a celebrity, but it was a very dope thing, and it came out. It was hilarious. Shaq was great to work with. He had a great energy. He was authentic. He was a goofball. You get the sensation of like, he's just like, wow, I get to be here. This is great. Like, what am I not going to be happy for? Then when it came out, it went like dumb viral. Like, Shaq's page did like 4 million views on Facebook in like a couple days. They were talking about it on ESPN. It was playoff time, so it was getting pumped by TMZ, and they were laughing. Him and Charles Barkley were laughing about it on TNT and all type of stuff. And I got so many text messages and Facebook Messenger and DMs from different people throughout my different walks of life, whether it be Florida or military or college football or just different ventures, that were like, yeah, that's so dope. I'm super proud of you, blah, blah, blah. Eventually it would lead to, what was it like working with Shaq? And then I got over like 100 accounts, like no cap. I got over 100 stories of like, that's crazy, bro. Like, I met Shaq once at the airport. He asked me where the bathroom was. Flight was delayed. We ended up talking for hours. Or, I met Shaq at a restaurant. I tried to run down on him and his lady and take a picture. He was like, nah, thank you. But before he left, his people were like, yo, he's gonna hang out and take pictures. He took pictures. He's ended up hanging out for like 45 minutes. Shaq helped us with Habitats for Humanity. He showed up early. He stayed later. He did way more. Wow. Shaq threw a Special Olympics thing, or Shaq helped me with my groceries one day. It was like just all these, which I'm sure, like, everything is perspective, so I'm sure he's had his bad days. I'm sure there's people out there with negative accounts. Yeah. But my inboxes were flooded. And I was like, yo, that's the type of legacy I want to leave behind.
Nice.
That's hard work, because he's got family. He's got a daughter who, you know what I mean? It's a lot going on in your head at any given moment when somebody runs up on you. Yeah. But you still try to be as in tune with that moment and serve that moment as much as you can. Yeah. And that's one thing I notice about you is you're very personable. And when I saw you the other day at the premiere event, and as well at the watch party for ATL Homicide, you know, the way you're kind of moving around the crowd, you made sure that you're making eye contact with everyone and really making a connection with every single person in the room. It's my craft. That's what I do. Acting is connecting. You're connecting with, first of all, the content, the script. You're connecting with your environment. You're connecting with your scene partners. Yeah. And you're just getting lost literally in that connection. Yeah. I think I get that from my mom. She was a a conversationalist. That's how I used to brand it. I used to loathe going to the grocery store with her. But it would take hours. Like, why you just have to stop and talk to every person?
My mother's the same way. What?
It's wild. It's wild.
So do you have to talk to that person really right now about everything in their
Next thing you know, they're showing each other pictures and talking about chess and Darwinism. It's like, yo, I'm hungry.
Chess and Darwinism.
It's like, well, how do we get there? For real.
No, but that's awesome. I mean, even though that as the child of a person who's doing that when you're just trying to get in and out of the store, how annoying that could be sometimes, it is a good lesson
for sure.
to show that you can talk to people and make that connection with people no matter what walk of life they are, no matter who they are.
It's a blessing.
And,
I think we have more blockage now than ever that prevents that. Between social media and all these different entertainments and things that stimulate you and bring you pleasure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's now more than that than ever, which every generation will be able to say that as it grows. But now more than ever, it's more important to connect with reality and what's happening in front of you.
Yeah, it is. It is. So how do you stay grounded, especially with what you just said about social media and our phones are always on and ringing, and I'm sure yours is probably more so than most because you have a lot going on right now.
Yeah.
And so how do you stay grounded in the midst of all of that and still stay connected with your inner self? I know you have your mala beads and your meditation.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely that soul work and the crystals, and I never burned so much sage in my life because I'm dealing with so many energies and in the entertainment industry is shiesty, and I'm a Florida Project kid, so I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Inside I'm like, what do you want?
What you
want? But my daughter Aspen, my sister Tanya, my sister Audrey, my sister Dale, my nephews and my nieces, my pop, Bud, Pretty Fly Society. So it keeps me grounded.
Okay.
Yeah. So it keeps me in tune with who I am. People that know me as Angelito or know me as Cuba. You know what I mean? Like people that know me.
Cuba God. That's
Like what you said. Say it one more time.
God. Cuba God.
I'm gonna need that drop. I'm gonna need that.
I'm gonna plug that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's it's super important. Like that's what keeps me
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So what is your morning routine like? You strike me as someone who has one.
Yo, I usually do, but lately my sleep schedule has been different. And I was just talking with the squad, I want to switch that back into what it was, but I've been a night owl lately. It's harder to go to sleep because it's you know what I mean? That's when the pen and paper comes out, that's when the phone comes out, that's when I get to dig in, because it kind of feels like the calm after the storm, where every day it's we're going here, we're doing this, we're creating, we're pumping out content, boom, 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 and then that night is just that quiet of cool, this is my time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then that bleeds into 4 or 5 a.m. I'm 9 a.m. I'm I gotta go. I got workouts. I got stuff to do. So yeah, I want to tap back into my morning routine, but I can't fight it. I'd rather embrace it and be in the moment. Understand that. I guess that's happening for a reason.
Oh yeah. It's definitely happening for a reason. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep moving forward and beyond. So what's next for you?
A whole lot. I have a project called Motel Gravy that is currently in development.
Motel Gravy?
Motel Gravy.
Okay.
Motel Gravy is crazy. It's like Pulp Fiction meets, remember Next Day Air? That had Amari Hardwick in it.
I don't think.
Meets Ozark.
Okay.
With a Latino twist. So we have distribution through Vire. Network is a huge platform that's rolling out. It's going to be on Apple Music. It's going to be on Apple TV rather. It's going to be available on Roku, things of that nature. And we're locking in the funding. We're pitching it to other partners who want to get involved. We have a proof of concept, a pilot that looks amazing.
Okay.
Me and my co-star from ATL Homicide are in it. Me and Chris Diaz, and we also produce it. Again, create your own content.
That's right.
Don't wait for them.
Plug.
Right. There's another project called Zola coming out later this summer. It's going to be crazy. Zola is it's a crazy movie. It's about a Twitter story that went viral a couple of years ago. It's a huge hangover-ish crazy situation. When you see my role in that, I'm acting, don't judge it. It's all love.
What kind of role do you have? Now I'm curious.
Let's just say as soon as you see me, I'm answering the door, opening the door in straight boxers.
Okay.
And I've ordered a young lady who plays the lead role and her girlfriend for their services.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're going to see a different side.
We're gonna see a different side. We're gonna explore a little bit.
We're going to explore a little bit of Angelo.
Yeah, a lot of Angelo.
We're going to explore a lot of Angelo. How about that?
So that's rolling out, and ATL Homicide season 2, man. Every new episodes Monday nights, 12 episodes. They're gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a roller coaster ride. Every episode is a different case. These are cases that are like living, breathing Atlanta history.
Yeah.
We've got cases where God bless her and her loss, but our current mayor, Miss Keisha Bottom, she was a councilwoman at the time. She lost her nephew to some gun violence. I don't want to tease the whole episode, but there's cases in this season that are like pertinent to Atlanta history. So that's awesome just to watch that come into fruition. It's like so much is next, but also let me enjoy this moment. You know? Let me enjoy this moment. Content every day.
Pumping it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's next for you?
What's next for me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm being interviewed now. Okay.
Yeah.
What's next for
let's
me
flip the script.
is everything.
Yeah.
So I am building this podcast. I'm also working on a TV show that I can't necessarily talk about right now, but that's all I got to say. It's in the future. It's in the works.
Very dope.
So with me as a star, I will be there.
Is it this type of situation, or is it scripted?
It's not scripted.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice,
So it's just me being me.
Dope.
The healer in heels.
Yeah.
Who's ready?
Motivating. That's dope. That's
Yes. So
I feel you have a lot of game and insight to share with people, so that's important.
Yes, and that's my purpose. My life purpose that I've discovered is to help other people, basically unleash the truth within themselves and unleash their light and their soul purpose into the world so that they can have the impact they're supposed to have in the world, because there's so many things that hold people back from that. Yeah.
That's very awesome. I'm rooting for you.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
Can we blow it up again? Okay.
The sound effects, now we're taking another level.
Sound effects. So my last question, I ask every guest this. So what does life mastery mean to you? What does that look like in your life?
We were just talking about before we started rolling about self-honesty and self-awareness.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of life mastery. And like we said, there's so much blockage and so many distractions that could prevent one from being in tune with their own spirit, their own soul, their own body, their own mind, their emotions.
Yes.
I think it's very difficult because it requires a very harsh honesty, and it requires almost a very business mindset. Like you got to be able to, for me, some of that process has involved kind of disconnecting and looking at things or connecting even deeper, rather, if you want to look at it that way, but looking at yourself from a third eye view, subjectively on paper. Like when you make a pitch deck or a business plan, SWOT is like the ABCs of that. You're listing your strength, your weaknesses, your assets, all that good stuff. You need to do that for yourself.
Yes.
Like look at yourself as a business, like this is where I'm strong at, this is where I'm weak at, this is where I be messing up, this is what I bring to the table, relationship wise or work wise or such and such. And that teaches you about who you are, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And the honesty part of that is super important, because a lot of people will be like, let me list my strengths and weaknesses, but they won't really list their real strengths and weaknesses. They'll be like, and then they'll put some strengths on there that they don't really have. Like you got to be honest with yourself and really check within.
Very.
And it's important to give yourself that critique so that you can get better. That's how we improve, and that's how we start to master those areas of our lives.
Exactly.
Yes.
You can't master life until you master your own self, your own tools. Which we said your body is just a vessel for your soul, so it starts with the soul.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
Appreciate it.
This is great.
For sure. We knew we had more in common than we thought, didn't we?
Yes, exactly. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell the audience how they can find out more about you and what you have going on.
You can check us out at Pretty Fly Society on all social media platforms. Me as an individual, you can check me out at Cuba God. Say it one more time.
Cuba God.
There we go. GAWD, CUBA, GAWD. That's on all the crazy little social medias. Instagram being the favorite crazy social media.
That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
It's easier.
It is.
It's not so much.
It is. It's like, here's the message, the frequency, the vibration, and keep
Exactly.
it moving.
Keep it moving.
For sure. There's just too many of them to keep track of these days. Like, I can't live and do this at the same time.
Yeah. And you got a lot going on, so. Well, I'm very, very excited that you came on today, and I thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited about your future and where your trajectory of where you're going. So, and I congratulate you on all your success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
To you as well.
Thank you. For more information, go to my website at monicabey.com.